Hello there, folks, and welcome to the stream. My name is Mike D'Angelo, aka That Tellest Guy, and I am joined by my lovely co-host. I'm waiting to see if I get in trouble for calling her Sassafras.
Yep, he's in trouble.
In trouble on the stream. do you want to say your real name, or should I say your real name?
You can't say my name.
That's true, I'm not allowed.
Hi. Rhianna.
You're allowed to say your name. So we are going to do a goofy episode today. We're going to be talking about the Tellest HR handbook.
Yeah, I thought this would be a really funny topic. I used to do HR, and I think that the idea of making Tellest sort of like a workplace comedy a la like
The Office,
Parks and Rec,
Brooklyn
or something
Nine-Nine.
like that. Just the idea of it being a fantasy based. Oh, this is on. That's why I'm hearing an echo.
Nope, those are just the voices in your head.
No, I don't want to.
But we can't discriminate against those people.
That's true. But I thought this would be really funny to talk about, especially in the context of a fantasy world. Like, what shenanigans would we get into? What would a break room conversation look like? And how do you create a rule book, like a policy book, when you have to consider all, like, not just humans? It's not just HR. It's a
Creatures
plethora of creatures and a variety of beings, and so let's get into it. Conflict resolution. Thanks, AI.
Well, AI and the original art that we had.
Art.
I do notice, however, that the weird arm thing is happening over here.
I just asked it to take one of the Tellest arts and make it like a corporate poster for
a motivational
for
poster.
Yeah. So the point of having an HR handbook is typically for not only like so that the employees understand and so that the employer understands, but like, you know, what's expected of each other, but also compliance. And part of compliance is safety and making sure that everyone is, you know, doing things to reduce liability for the company, which is really the main point. But that gets a little dicey when your job is going into battle and doing quests and, you know, when you're dealing with magic and weaponry and things like that. How do you ensure a safe workplace, regardless of what your place of work actually is?
And we're going to be talking a little bit more about quests as we go. I did want to show everybody the original art that we had.
And it did some fun stuff.
It did some fun stuff. Any woozle. You got to treat me like the regular IT guy.
Next slide, please. So, the term human resources, would that make sense in a fantasy world that is full of multiple different types of creature? You've got the anthropomorphic beings that are human-like. Would you call them humanoid if their whole entire, you know, their culture is being their own sort of
more importantly,
like orcs, trolls, like they're not humanoid.
They're humanoid.
But
the question is, are
offended?
Well, yes, probably, because why would humans be the basis of that?
Exactly.
But even if they weren't, do centaurs and naga and stuff like that, do they count? They've got different body shapes. They're not quite humanoid.
Right. So it would have to be, I think, like I propose in this world, it would be sentient being resources, or SBR instead of HR. Because you also have to consider like the rights of, let's say, a golem, or let's say a familiar. Like, would a familiar be emotional support animal, or would it be like if it's
not on here but should be.
Right, but like if you have like Androckitus has Styx, right?
It's true.
Is Styx an emotional support dragon? I feel like that would be offensive to a dragon because they're intelligent.
I mean, both can be
and
true.
Sentient, right?
you could be an emotional support dragon and also an indentured servant.
That's also, yeah. So you've got a lot of different considerations here, and I feel like with even the world of HR that we have today, you kind of have to toe that line of being like, you know, we're respectful as much as possible of all different types of cultures, beliefs, like all the different contributions that different people bring to a company. But when you're working in a world where you have so many different types of creatures and beliefs, and you've got, like, let's say the quote-unquote evil people of, like, the Blacklinean race, and you have, like, necromancers and things like that, how do you approach all of them with fairness and clarity as you make these policies?
Sorry, this is a verbal warning.
Right, like, how do you toe that line?
Well, we start by going to workplace conduct.
Workplace conduct. So that is the basis of our little HR book here. So in this photo, we have Bixby, whose power, as we have discussed, is dying.
Unaliving!
Unaliving a lot. And when he unalives, his previous body, his mortal husk, is left behind. So it would be a violation of workplace conduct for him to unalive himself during the workday, leave his body there as a decoy pretending to work, and then, shuck it off to the pub.
Basically just a cardboard cutout of himself.
Just a cardboard cutout of himself. How do you discipline an illusionist, in the workplace, who is pretending to, or at least creating the illusion that they're working throughout the day?
Mm-hmm.
What do those laws look like? And how do you encompass all of it? Because you can't go bullet point for bullet point. Like, it's going to be a scroll, like, 17 layers long.
I'm sorry. Does this workplace not have due process?
Don't get spicy on me. Anti-harassment. Obviously, anti-harassment and anti-discrimination is one of those things that you don't necessarily have to get into the nitty-gritty bullet points of. It's a pretty, like, blanket statement. Just be respectful of the people around you. Lucinda here in this picture, however, would probably be one of the people who disagree with that assessment.
Lucinda the Lewd.
Lucinda the Lewd. She has crushed on Gaston for a very long time. Her behavior here is inappropriate in the workplace. You have to respect each other as professionals. Now, Lucinda has the special power of transfiguration, so she can transfigure anything into anything.
Transformation, transfiguration, and transmogrification.
Right, and she could, in theory, do a lot of unprofessional harm with that power in the workplace. And how do you figure, what sort of meeting do you have to have if she turns
Gaston's staff into a...
Shush. Like, let's say this world had staplers. She turns the stapler into a attractive man. Like, does the stapler have rights?
I believe you transformed my stapler.
I believe you transformed my stapler. She just puts the entire thing in Jell-O.
The entire man in Jell-O.
The entire man in Jell-O. Workplace health and safety. This would be another huge topic in the world of Tellest. So here you see Bolt, who has, lightning abilities. Bolt is on his written warning of using his power indoors. Obviously, that presents a hazard to others, and you also have to consider if you have different people of different
cultural backgrounds?
Well, no, like you've got different skill sets, right? You've got like the Omega X-Men and the high level and low level powers. You just hit Zelda with a water bottle, you dweeb.
Speaking of workplace health and safety.
Oh my god.
It's alright. It was empty.
He threw an empty water bottle at our dog.
Not
How
at.
dare you.
In her direction without knowing she was there.
Correct. If you have like a little pixie gnome looking thing, and then you've got a Minotaur, like Minotaur, whatever, those big guys. You gotta be careful. You gotta tiptoe around those things, like literally, or else you're gonna squash somebody.
So you have to be wearing the appropriate footwear?
You have to be wearing the appropriate footwear. You have to be very conscious of the people that you work with in this environment. Labor law violations. So what constitutes a productive work environment, right? What constitutes a fair work environment? Juramentado, featured here, raising the dead, is not working within the laws that have been set forth.
He's not using the parameters the right way?
No. When we say you have a deadline, we don't mean you can raise the dead to meet the deadline that has been set forth.
But they're free labor.
But are they? Because are they working within their own free will? Are they being compensated fairly for their time?
They don't need to be compensated. They're dead.
But who's to say that?
There's
you gotta spell these out in the handbook.
Funny enough, this is like a whole prospect of the new game Avowed that came out, where the whole idea is you can reanimate the dead and use them for like
labor,
basically indentured servitude, including wishing off your own body and saying like when your character is unalived, they will go and do work on this farm.
Interesting.
In fact, it even features into the end of the game if that's what you pick. Like, happy ending, happy ending, happy ending, happy ending, happy ending. Oh, by the way, your body was donated to science.
Oh my god. That's super funny.
You didn't get to take your next place on the wheel that is this rotating, Yeah.
I would also... she's... Hi, Zelda. I would also say, within, like, the raising of the dead consideration, what about golems? What about, like, people who have like, if you have... Yeah, if you're hired to do something, and then you use magic to do that, like, whatever it is that an unfair advantage?
But if Michael Phelps can swim in the Olympics, and you're a necromancer, you can do whatever you need to do.
I see. You're a benevolent boss. Workplace attire. Okay.
Not leaves.
Not leaves.
Not leaves on the tatas.
Yeah, we thought this would be a funny picture for this topic. So we have creatures who are anthropomorphic. We have creatures who have, fur, like, as a basis for their body parts, and you've got people who can create clothing out of whatever natural fibers are around. I would say, as a blanket statement, that the world of Tellest should have some sort of basic, like, just all-encompassing, you gotta cover this bit, you need to cover this bit. Your armor as a female
it's wearing a hat.
Just the hat. Your armor as a female should not expose your entire midriff, because you're gonna get stabbed there.
But historically speaking, that's given them higher armor points.
I see. Yeah, this is just one of those funny conversations. Like, I'm imagining a very, like, old, rickety little critter, like an old orc lady or something like that, as the HR woman going like, "You're being dress coded, my dear."
The male gaze. I'm talking about the eyes. Hello there, sweetheart.
And what about the female gaze if she's a gorgon?
She's a what?
A gorgon.
Gorgon, ah.
Like a Medusa,
What if it's the female gaze and she's got to worry about hats?
Break room etiquette. Please label your potions appropriately. Don't leave any weaponry in the break room. When you have, like, when you're bringing a sandwich to lunch or you're packing up your bag, make sure if you're, like, let's say you have
a nut allergy.
A nut allergy. No, if you have, like,
Did someone take my carbuncle cure? It wasn't labeled.
It wasn't labeled. If you have a, what do you call it? An Avarian, maybe, as a coworker, maybe don't bring chicken in that day.
Wait a minute. Are those free-range eggs?
Leave of absence, quest versus vacation. So I would say that in a fantasy world, they're probably much less tight about they're probably more European in their policy for time off. Like, sure, have your time, but if you're going on a quest, if you are journeying for a purpose. Is that considered?
It's military leave.
Is it? Yeah. Is it like what is that compared to like I just need some time off. I don't want to be a hero right now. I don't want to go save anybody. I just want to go take a vacation. I think that within the world of Tellest there is propensity to travel like very long distances when you have access to things like portals and you have access to like any sort of magical transportation. Otherwise, your quest or vacation is going to take you months. Like, not days, months. So, what are we doing in the meantime? Are we covering your shift while you're gone?
Do you need an intern before?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what are you doing during this time? And is it a paid vacation versus an unpaid leave?
Well, I mean, that's kind of the thing, right? Like, the Tower Sphere stuff, you've got your heroes who are going to get called away. Like,
right.
Well, now our team stinks.
Exactly. What are you going to do in that case? Like, all of these things are considerations. So, what are our rules? Benefits and beneficiaries. This guy's so creepy.
You don't like Thune Soren?
Yeah.
He's our undead Mr. Fantastic.
He is creepy. I don't like him. But I can't say that as a HR professional. I'm sorry, as
You
PR.
can say it at home. You can't say
say
it at work.
Right. So another thing, like obviously health benefits would be needed in any of these magical worlds because you need to take care of your heroes. You need to make and I'm sure you would have access to plenty different doggy grunts. I'm sure you would have access to plenty of different like magical healing agents. But I would say the benefits in a workplace would be more so what the plan is to make sure that your beneficiaries get whatever you get in the event that you die. Because if you are a hero, if you're a hero that is going on adventures, that's risking their life for the realm, you have a high risk job at that point.
In this office space, is there an insurance policy?
I would imagine so. There would have to be. But then I would also say there's got to be caveats here because what if you're
What if you're Bixby?
What if you're Bixby? What if you are maimed? If you are maimed and unalived are one thing, but what if you're maimed, unalived, and resurrected? Does the policy moot at that point?
There is. Excuse me. There is one of my favorite games is one of my favorite game series is Monkey Island, and in the third Monkey Island, the whole idea is that you need money, so you take a life insurance policy out on yourself, and then you
unalive.
But facetiously, you're still alive. You come to in the family crypt, and then go and see the guy. You've already got the death certificate, so.
I love it.
No!
Doggies. Remote work. So this is the hot topic in all HR circles now. Like, what are the policies surrounding remote work? My personal policy is it should be forever and always. But this shown here is a travel bracelet, essentially, that allows you to, like, one of those avenues that we were talking about where it's like a portal. You can get to wherever you need to be very quickly. So if you're able to do that, why not? Why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you work remotely? However...
We sell paper and paper accessories.
Right, but however, where are your checks and balances? Because, again, if you don't have... Let's just assume in this fantasy world they don't have cell phones or laptops where you can check in. At what point do you stop getting paid for services rendered?
You just gotta show that you're doing the TPR reports.
Yeah, okay. Wait, one more thing. So with remote work comes the topic of time management as well. Chronomancy in terms of your time off policy. We gotta have some sort of caveat spelled out for that one too.
Spelled out.
Spelled.
Yeah, you can't go on vacation and then use chronomancy to freeze time for everyone else just so that you can have extra time.
Exactly. I feel like there has to be caveats in there for messing with time. Or if you have the power to alter people's memories or something like that. Like, be honest with your time recording. talent management. I love the idea of a band of heroes getting a annual performance review. I just love it.
Is this one of our April Fool's jokes that becomes a real thing?
It may be.
Are we making an Office Space adjacent RPG?
I think it's gonna have to be. So I would say, like in a few areas you're gonna exceed expectations, but other areas are just satisfactory.
Moving on?
Yeah, moving on.
IT guy.
Employee engagement. So following this presentation, there is a mandatory happy hour for bonding that all employees must gather. Yeah, I think that it would be really funny, like the topical implications of employee engagement in a fantasy workplace. You've got, everybody, we have a new suggestion box. No one put the suggestion box there. It's a mimic.
Oh,
yes. Your suggestion.
I'm just so, like, ingrained in the idea of, like, this is a show that has to happen now.
Yeah, it does have to happen. I think it would be so much fun.
And that's it.
That's it. I thought this would be a fun little opportunity to kind of, like, riff the idea of going into...
Sometimes I have to get Rhianna, like, on board with, like, doing a Talking Tellest, and I called her on my way home yesterday, and I was like, do you want to do a Talking Tellest today? Like, almost thinking that she wouldn't, and she's like, hey,
I have an idea.
I did something. So, folks, that's going to wrap us up for today. Let's head over to our show closing page. I do want to say that I will be back in 15 minutes to do an episode about. My brain is frying already.
Yeah,
it's hot up here. I'm going to be doing a Making Maps. It's just going to be a quick one that shows off some of our new partner maps, but we'll work on them. On the screen right now, you should see all the places that you can find Tellest content out there on the internet. Tellest.com is a first place to check out. It'll bring you to all of our other projects, and it'll show off the work that many of our partners and sponsors work on for us. We've got 3 kind of premium sites that you can check out: patreon.com/Tellest, Tellest.etsy.com, and battlemapfantasy.com. 2 TikTok channels that you can check out. At Weird Which Ones is where you can find all of the creative stuff that Rhianna is working on, and at Tales of Tellest is where you can find all the great things that our dogs are barking on. And youtube.com/@worldoftellest is where a lot of these videos are going to end up after they're knocked off of the Twitch channel after the prerequisite month time or whatever. But twitch.tv/thattellest guy is the only place where you can check us out live and chat with us, gather up your quest coins, all that good stuff. That's going to wrap us up for now. I will be back in like 15 minutes, and then we will make some maps. But until then,
we miss you.